Hi, Tam here. Hopefully, by listening to my story, you guys will be able to protect your career. Have you ever noticed that when a man lies about a woman, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in court, whatever the situation, when a man lies about another man or about a woman, that man will be severely punished, as he should be, because a false testimony is a criminal offense. But when a woman lies about a man, it's a double standard. A woman can say that she was assaulted by a man, and when proven wrong, not much will happen to her. And that's an intro to my story. The year is 2018. So we're in November 2018. And 2018 was an exciting year for me because I decided to rejoin the cruise ships after a 2 years hiatus. I was working on land and there was an opportunity. A friend of mine had told me that there was an opportunity on a cruise ship in Australia. They urgently needed a doctor on the Carnival Spirit. So not only I was offered this position, but I was told I was going to rejoin as a senior physician, meaning the head of department of the medical operation on the ship. New city, new country, new continent really. So off I went. And so I found myself in early 2018 in Sydney. It was my first time in Sydney, as I said. So it was a brand new experience. And all the ports were new ports, right? So it was Sydney, Vanuatu, it was several ports in New Caledonia, Noumea, l'Île des Pins, the Isle of Pines, the Fiji Islands, and all the Pacific islands, in Oceania. So it was nice. I enjoyed it a lot. I did one contract, 4 months, went back to work on land for 2 months, and then was to sign on the Carnival Spirit again for another 4 months contract. And that was in November. This is when the story gets interesting. Now, just before I left on my first contract and I finished my 4 months, I think I was left with about possibly 3 weeks. A new doctor came in a junior position. And by new, I mean new. No prior experience in cruise ship medicine. First time on board. But not only that, minimal experience in medicine. We're talking about a doctor that had finished, it was a female doctor that had finished her internship. We're talking about 2 years prior, and had worked for some few months in Ireland and really had little to no experience in emergency medicine. Right. And it became evident with every medical case we would see, not comfortable with emergency procedures, no real emergency approach, not comfortable with ultrasound, not comfortable with general anesthesia, ventilators, just somebody who had no comfort in emergency medicine. That person, that doctor, was a woman. She was a South African woman. And so I worked with her for 3 weeks. And I left on my break for 2 months. And then 2 months later, I came back on the Carnival Spirit in November 2018 for another 4 months contract, as planned. As I arrived on the Carnival Spirit, the Carnival Spirit was to do one cruise from Sydney and then go to Melbourne and stay in Melbourne for 3 days. And then after that, go back to Sydney and then carry on the usual itinerary. This new female South African doctor, while I was away, I'd already planned her excursions in Melbourne. So as I arrived, literally as I arrived with my bags, and when I say literally, I mean literally, as I arrived with my bags, with my luggage on the ship, and I went into the medical center, I met that doctor who told me right there, with my luggage still with me, hey, hi, yes, by the way, next week the ship will be going to Melbourne, and I want us to do the schedule like this. You know, I want to be free on the first day, and then I'll work on the second day, and then I'll be free on the third day. According to her plans, she could be off when the ship arrived in Melbourne, and then work on the second day, the Melbourne second day, and then off again the third day. 3 days in Melbourne, 2 days off. I said, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter for me. If that's what you want, we can do that, you know? I've always believed that, you know, when you work on cruise ships, as anybody, whether it's a doctor or waiter or whatever, you are going there to work. It's a job like any other job in any other hospital. We are going there to work. The itinerary doesn't matter. If the ship is in New York, you still have to work. If the ship is in Hong Kong, the ship is in Singapore, the ship is in Marseille, whatever new port you'd like to explore, you're not here for that. We're here to work. And if you're lucky enough to have some free time when the ship is in a particular port, maybe in Honolulu, or, you know, in Noumea, or Tahiti, or Bora Bora, then that's your luck. Take some few hours off, enjoy yourself. Be a tourist for some few hours, right? But this is never the priority. So anyway, we worked and the ship arrived in Melbourne. But the day before the ship arrived in Melbourne, there were changes in the itinerary. Now, yes, it was going to be 3 days in Melbourne, but on the first day, the ship was going to arrive quite late in the afternoon. And the crew that were free were only going to be able to leave late in the afternoon. And then second day was a full day in Melbourne. And then the third day, the ship was going to leave early in the morning. And so this female doctor was now not very happy with the arrangement she had chosen. Because she realized that, okay, but the first day, I'm not going to see much because the entire day I'll be on the ship. And I'm only going to be able to leave at night. And now on the second day, I'm going to be working while the ship is in Melbourne the entire morning, afternoon, and night. And then on the third day, we're leaving early in the morning. So I'm not going to see much. I'm only going to see the late afternoon and night of the first day and a bit of the morning of the last day. So she approached me and they told me, no, you know what? I would like to change our schedule again. And I know I said I wanted things to be like that, and you agreed, but now I'd rather work on the first day, be free on the second day, and I told her, no, listen, but we can't do that, you know. The schedule has been drafted, and now things change, so it means that, you know, you want me to actually do, meaning work, a double shift, basically, you know, just so that you can enjoy yourself on that second day in Melbourne. That's not okay. And said, no, but you know, I really want to go out, and it's not fair because you will have that one day, that second day, that entire day off. So I said, you know what? First of all, I don't get the luxury of having a full day off as the head of department. There are meetings on ships, there's logistics to take care of. It's never a day off. I'm still gonna be on the ship working, and then I'll take some few hours off, yes. And he said, no, but you know, this is not fair. And so I said, okay, you know, she was getting emotional. I decided not to speak anymore. The morning finished. Now that day I was not even on duty, officially seeing patients, right? But I left, I had to attend to the management meeting. Then after the meeting, in the afternoon, I came back to have a conversation with the doctor and explain to this doctor that, you know what, there's been performance issues, and let's talk about this. So I popped by the medical center about maybe 15 minutes before her clinic was to start. And I called her. I had told her already that, listen, let's meet in the medical center half an hour before the clinic starts. So, you know, I can speak to you about certain things. He said, okay. So being very careful, especially as a manager, knowing that I was going to have to reprimand my junior doctor and talk about her performance. I was very careful to do it with witnesses. And you know, they say that sometimes when you're speaking to an employee or to a junior employee, you must take them away and have a one-on-one conversation, right? Don't put them on the spot in public. But in that instance, us living in a Me Too environment, as a man, as a manager, a male manager, knowing that I had to speak to a female employee about her performance, her negative performance, I made sure that I was doing it with 2 female nurses that were in my department. So at the nursing station, the nurses were there. And I was there on time. The doctor came. And I calmly explained the situation. And I told her, listen, I'm here to help you. You know, I'm more than willing to help you out. If you have any questions, please call me. If you need my help, I'm available 24 hours a day. If you have any doubt with any patient, please let me know. I told you that before, and I'm telling you that again. But more importantly, your behavior concerning this Melbourne 3 days that the ship is going to be doing is not okay. It's not appropriate. You are getting a little bit emotional in the morning when discussing the itinerary because now there's a changing of time and it's not the first time. You often concentrate on the port where the ship is going, trying to make sure that you're off or you're not working when the ship is in this particular port, or trying to take some long excursions that will impact on your working hours, on the ship. And that's not okay. You are not here on vacation. You are here working. Consider this position the same as working on land. In a hospital, you have to be dedicated to the working hours and to the patients. The port, the excursions on the beach or in the city, or experiencing a new restaurant in a new town, all that is a bonus if we have the opportunity to do that. But it should never be the most important thing. Understand that, please. Please understand that. Understand that you have some responsibilities. You've signed a contract with the company and you have to abide by that contract. She became very upset when I said that. Very upset. And she said, "No, I don't agree with what you're saying." And she became very emotional, raising her voice. And I was glad that, I had asked the nurses to stay there to witness that. And she became very aggressive, very disrespectful, telling me that I had no right to speak to her like that. I had no right to do this. I was, she became very emotional. And I kept telling her, "Listen, calm down. Please do not raise your voice at me, right? I'm not your friend. I'm speaking to you as a doctor, as the head of department, as your direct manager, as your direct supervisor. Please listen to what I'm telling you." No. She was getting emotional. It was just unbelievable. To the point where one of the nurses said, "No, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to hear that. This is very distressful for me to hear that." And I told the nurse, "Please, I insist that you stay here." And the reason I said that is because I knew that if the nurses were not there, it was going to be my word against her word, right? So she continued and she started saying, "Don't raise your voice at me." Don't. I said, "But I'm not raising my voice at you. I'm explaining to you how it works because you don't seem to realize the responsibilities that you have with your job. Listen to me. You need to do better." And the minute I said that, she said, "This is nonsense. I'm not going to listen to this. Who are you?" And she stormed out. She stormed out of the medical center. The nurses were appalled. First of all, this is an official meeting. Your supervisor has called for this meeting to speak to you, and you're storming out of the meeting in an emotional state, saying that this is all nonsense. That's completely unprofessional. So she left. Some few minutes later, the clinic was starting. Luckily, there were no patients yet, but she did not return. So I stayed in the clinic, although I was not working on that on that day, on that shift. 3:15, she's not back. 4 o'clock, 1 hour later, she's not back. I didn't call her. I wanted to see what was going to happen. Because now not only it's unprofessional, but it's another degree of unprofessionalism. What is the plan here? You're refusing to go to work? You storm out of the office and you go back to your room? Around 5 o'clock, I get a call from the Human Resource Director, HR. Now, just so that you understand the situation, let me give you some background on the Human Resource Director. The Human Resource Director is a woman from England, a British woman, who was the very best friend of my junior female doctor. And by best friends, I mean they would go out together out of the ship when the ship was docked in some beautiful exotic place. They were hanging out together. They were the closest people on the ship. They were best friends. So 5 o'clock, the Human Resource Director calls me and says that there's been a complaint against me. What? Yes. So I went to her office and she tells me that yes, so there's been a major complaint. It's a complaint about harassment from the doctor, the female doctor, all right? That female South African doctor. It's been a major complaint of harassment. You have harassed her. You called for a meeting. You shouted at her. You threatened her. She was actually in tears. And she left the medical center running because she was distressed, because she was distraught and fearing for her safety. I kid you not, that was the report. The HR director made sure to escalate this to management, the captain of the ship, and the relevant people in Miami. And that was the case. Harassment by the senior doctor of the junior doctor. I couldn't believe it. I gave my version of events and I said, no, it was a very professional meeting. I had witnesses. The nurses were there. They saw everything. They heard everything. I was calm the entire time. She is the one who was emotional, who was screaming, who was fuming, and she left. She stormed out of that meeting, which is not acceptable. And she did not return for her duties for 2 hours. I had to stay in the medical center and see the patients. The HR director was not interested in my story. She wrote a report. Escalations. For her, I'd harassed my doctor. I had to write a statement. I wrote my statement explaining exactly what had happened. The 2 female nurses, were shocked as well. They also wrote statements explaining exactly what they saw and what happened. And they told me, imagine that, which shocked me, that when they went into the HR director's office to give their statement, the HR director read the statement in front of the one nurse and told her, no, but are you sure about this? Are you sure it was like that? Don't you want to change this to this? Don't you want to? And she was like, this is what happened. You were not there. I was there. And the HR director was antagonizing the nurses into changing their statements. They played it out as my word against her word, but clearly it wasn't. I'm the head of department. I called for a meeting. I've got my entire staff, which is the other doctor and the two nurses. There were three nurses, so one nurse was missing because it was a male nurse. He wasn't there. Right. So it was the two nurses as witnesses and myself, and it was very clear that this doctor was lying. This thing escalated to the medical director of Carnival Cruise Line at the time, who contacted me. It was a female medical director, and told me that, no, I heard that you did this and you did that, and that's terrible. And I said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I've explained to you exactly what happened, how unprofessional this doctor is, and how lacking is the knowledge and the skills in emergency medicine for this doctor to actually be practicing on a cruise ship. And what has happened is testament to her unprofessionalism. Not interested. The female doctor must be right, and as a female, she must be protected, right? To cut a long story short, in the end, the medical director read the statement of the two nurses, the two female nurses that were present. Two independent statements. Read my statement. And clearly saw that there was a disconnect between the statements of the nurses and the senior doctor, which are exactly the same in reporting what had happened, and the statement of the female doctor who was confabulating and lying and creating some stories that never happened. She had been exposed as a liar, which for me is ground for dismissal, right? Well, not at Carnival Cruise Line. To my surprise, the medical director called a meeting, phone call meeting, between her, meaning her, the medical director, she's a female doctor as well, the junior doctor was accusing me of harassment, and myself. So the three of us in my office. I thought that the medical director was going to reprimand that female doctor for lying. But no. She made a little speech saying that, yes, after investigation, I think it's just a communication problem. You are both good doctors, and I really want you guys to work together. Let's forget about this whole thing. I think emotions are running high, and let's make up and work together. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. I was not going to accept that. Come on, guys. No way in hell. I refuse to accept that. You know, as a man of principles, I thought, no, you cannot lie, make false allegations, have me investigated for a week involving the ship security team, involving the captain of the ship, involving all sorts of people that are shoreside. And then saying that let's all make up, nothing, not even a slap in the wrist, nothing. Something that really annoyed me as well is that while we were having this three-way meeting on the phone, at one point, the medical director called one of the nurses. And the nurses repeated in front of the doctor, saying, with all due respect, this doctor, the female doctor, she is my supervisor because I'm the nurse, she's a doctor, but I have to say that what she is stating is not true. I was there. Dr. Bayer was courteous, polite, calm, and he told her what, in my opinion, she needed to hear. And so the medical director asked the nurse to excuse herself, and she left. And we left the two of us in the office with the medical director on the phone. And then that doctor, that female doctor, started crying right there. And she was crying, her voice was breaking, and she was saying, no, he treated me so badly, he was shouting, he was screaming, and she kept maintaining all that stuff. But what really annoyed me is that she said, you see, one thing as well is that I'm sure you've met Dr. Bayer before, but when you look at him physically, he's kind of big, he's kind of muscular, and it's a scary sight, especially when he shouts at you. And so I was fearing for my safety. Now that was very insulting. And even after saying that, the medical director said, okay, it's okay, let's all make up and hugs and kisses and go back to work. And I said, no, I will not accept that. So I told the medical director that this is not acceptable. I'm not happy about that. There has to be some repercussions here. This type of behavior, it's unprofessional. It has to be sorted out. We can't accept that. What kind of company are we working in if you're going to tolerate such things? The medical director did not like that. And I stated to the medical director that from this point on, I was not too comfortable working with this doctor. Because if she lied about that, what could she be saying tomorrow, next week? She could be saying that I assaulted her, I hit her. The first set of lies went on unpunished. Why not say more? And obviously, these lies were meant to have me fired. So why not going up a notch to make sure I get fired? No response for the medical director. And so I escalated the matter to the vice president medical of Carnival Cruise Line. Because I just couldn't let go. I couldn't let go. That's just not okay. So I escalated to him, which is not an ideal way of doing things, but if you're not finding any respite, if you're not finding any closure, if you're not finding any proper outcome, from your medical director, and this is my advice to you guys, you have to go one step above. And that step was the vice president, and I explained the situation to him. But, and you will not believe this is shocking to this day, because this incompetent, unprofessional female doctor stated that she was scared for her life, for her safety, because Dr. Beya was physically imposing. He was big. He had muscles on him. She was not afraid in the workplace. And so, some few days later, if you can believe this, I was told, just like that, to pack my bags and leave the ship on 1 day's notice. I was literally told at noon that start packing your bags tomorrow morning, early in the morning, as the ship arrives in Sydney, you are to leave the ship. Not only that, but there was already a new senior doctor in Sydney who had landed in Sydney and was waiting in a hotel to come and replace me. So the decision had been taken some few days earlier already. But no one had the decency of telling me that. And even worse than that, the only reason I found that out at noon was because I was in the captain's office, who was a good guy, a nice guy. I was in his office. He was doing a presentation for the senior management of the ship. So it was the captain, the staff captain, the hotel director, myself, and somebody else, the chief engineer. And this presentation, right, he had the projector projecting his computer screen on a large widescreen. And as you're watching that, by mistake, his Outlook email opens up and an email pops up for just some few seconds. And reading this, it says, yes, as discussed, Dr. Beya is to leave the ship tomorrow morning. It was very fast. It was like a second, but I'm a fast reader, so I saw it. And others saw it, and everybody was quiet. That was an awkward meeting. And at the end of the meeting, everybody left, and I stayed with the captain. I told him, Captain, I saw that email that popped up for like half a second. And it states that, as discussed, I am to leave the ship tomorrow. Am I being removed from this ship because of these false allegations that this woman is making? And the captain was an Italian guy, nice guy, and he said, Doctor, I'm really sorry. This is completely out of my control. This is the decision of the medical director. And yes, they are removing you tomorrow morning when you arrive in Sydney. And I was told not to tell you. And I was like, but when were you going to tell me? I said, I was definitely going to tell you later on today. I was never going to inform you in the morning that you're leaving this morning. That's not okay. But yes, the decision has been taken that you have to be removed. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I was removed from the ship. On less than 24 hours notice, I was removed from the carnival spirit in Sydney. That was the 1st of December 2018. A woman made some completely false allegations against her manager in an attempt to hide her incompetence, lack of skills, lack of knowledge, lack of professionalism, basically unfit to work as a doctor on a cruise ship. And I, even after being proven innocent, even after medical staff that witnessed the meeting said that this is completely untrue, Dr. Tambeya was calm, Dr. Tambeya was courteous, polite, but firm. But it's completely untrue. Still, I was removed from the ship, and this doctor was kept on. Carnival Cruise Line, can you believe that? You know, having a photographic memory is a curse. Because you remember things so vividly, like it was today. So yes, I was removed from the ship. So I was removed from the ship on some few hours notice. The following day, so first of all, I had to tell my nurses that look, I'm really sorry, but I'm leaving the ship. They're removing me, and they were not happy, obviously. I mean, they were both excellent nurses, and if they're watching this, you are excellent nurses. Yeah, they were great. Yeah. So I left the ship the following day. I was upset. I was angry. Angry because I was the one being falsely accused and I was the one being removed. I can only imagine how it feels for people to be given prison sentences and being put in jail. Can you imagine? For crimes they did not commit, for false allegations of assault or damage to property or rape. Can you imagine how you must be feeling in that prison cell? It must be horrible. And you could easily go on a self-destructive path. Can you imagine how the Central Park 5 must have felt for all those years? So anyway, the following day we arrived in Sydney, and early in the morning I left. I had 6 pieces of luggage. Why? Because the Carnival Spirit was supposed to have been my permanent place of work. I was supposed to go and come back and go and come back. And look, I don't want to go into too many details, but most senior officers have, at Carnival at least, they have trunks so that they don't have to take everything with them when they leave and then come back with everything, because it's going to be so much luggage. So they have trunks. But some genius at Carnival Cruise Line had the bright idea to remove trunk privileges for doctors. And so, no more trunks for doctors. Another wonderful initiative from Carnival Cruise Lines to show that they really appreciate their doctors. So anyway, so I left with my 6 pieces of luggage. As I was leaving the gangway, the HR director was there, and she had the audacity to say, "Hi, safe travel. I hope everything goes well." But I was professional. You see, I'm always professional at work, and so I said, "Well, thank you. I hope you live well." And I left. Now, when I left, it was very hard to leave with 6 pieces of luggage, as you can imagine. I had to tie them up together and guide myself out of the Sydney harbour, the port. But 2 things happened. While I was struggling with my luggage, I met a CBP guy, a custom and border patrol or immigration officer at the port as I was leaving the port. And this guy was so kind that he helped me out with my luggage, which officers never do. And he really lifted my spirit up. And he was a guy there, and he said, "Yeah, I don't know why he said that, but he said, hey man, I really wish you all the best. You'll be okay. Stay safe," or something like that. And I thought that was great when he said that, these words of encouragement. I don't know why he said that, but it really helped me out. And then as I arrived at the airport, again I was struggling with all this luggage, and I saw this Asian gentleman in a business suit, a black suit, with a black tie, and he was very helpful as well. I will never forget that guy, that Asian guy, because he reminded me of Chow Yun-fat. Actually, the first time I saw him, I thought it was Chow Yun-fat. Elegant Asian guy in a business suit, probably in his early 50s, or maybe late 40s. And he came in and he saw me and he said, let me help you out, you overloaded your luggage. And he walked with me for a long distance until I reached the counter where I checked in my luggage. And as he dropped my luggage, he actually even dropped my luggage off the trolley there, off the cart. And before I could even say anything, I just said thank you and he was gone. But this guy was so nice. He was so nice. And these two encounters that day, it really lifted my spirit up. And seeing these two men who went out of their way to help me out, it was unbelievable. And I think that guy, that Asian guy, probably doesn't even know how much he lifted my spirit up by this act of kindness he did. So I took my flight to Melbourne to join the ship they were sending me onto, the Carnival Legend. So I was leaving the Carnival Spirit in Sydney to go to the Carnival Legend in Melbourne. And there's a nice twist to the story, because this whole thing was started because the silly doctor wanted to have as much time as possible free in Melbourne in the first place. And now they were sending me into a ship that was having Melbourne as its home port. That was sweet. And now I was going to be in Melbourne. Basically, it was my home port. I was going to be there every week for months. It was nice, And not only that, but the Carnival Legend was having the best itinerary in the fleet, in the Carnival fleet. So I was in Melbourne and then I went to Brisbane. We went to Brisbane with the ship, and then we went to New Caledonia, Vanuatu, Fiji, Bora Bora, Tahiti, Tonga, Hawaii, Canada, and then Seattle, and then Alaska, and we did the Panama Canal twice, Costa Rica, and then you ended up, it was wonderful. It was just wonderful. The universe has a funny way of, that was beautiful. And now you won't believe that. As we left Australia, by the way, we also went to New Zealand. So it was just a wonderful adventure. The Carnival Legend, the captain was so nice, such a great guy. He was a friend. He is a friend. The hotel director, great guy. The medical team, great team. So we're always on the same page, no drama. It was beautiful. Oh man, it was. I dare to say that my time on the Carnival Legend, with that medical team and with everything and with the itinerary, was probably the best time I've ever had. Maybe not the best time, but it was one of the best times. Definitely one of the best times I've ever had on cruise ships. So it was an upgrade for me. So we see. At the end, things turned out very good. And now, I was saying you won't believe it, but once you were in Alaska, I received a request from the medical director telling me that junior doctor would like to join the Carnival Legend to experience Alaska. Dude. Really? Kara. Yes, really. Definitivamente. It's... So what lessons can be taken from my story? There are observations, there are negatives, and there are positives. The observations. Always record yourself when you know that you're going to be in a situation that has the potential to be a difficult situation, or when as a manager you are going to interact with a female co-worker or a female subaltern or a female employee that you're supervising. That will help you out. I learned that the hard way back in 2012 when I was again accused of false allegations, and from that point on I'm recording myself all the time, and if nothing happens I delete the recording. If something happens, I have the proof. And for that particular instance, I had recorded myself. I'm talking about audio here, just audio, you know, so you just have a little device. My device, I just put it in my pocket, switch it on, and it records clearly even in my pocket. Like I said, for me, it's second nature when I know I'm going to be in a difficult situation or something that has the potential to be difficult or explosive, or when I'm interacting with a female employee or co-worker, or, you know, I am recording myself. I'm not recording them, I'm recording myself. And that does two things. Number one, you will be most professional because you know that you're recording yourself. So obviously you're not going to record yourself and lose your temper. So because you know you're recording, you are going to be calm at all times. Number two, even if they try to record you or pull up their phone and say, oh, I'm going to record this, it's even better. Because now, yes, they might record you, but they won't be able to put you out of context or to edit their little recording because you've got the audio to back up their video. So guys, always record yourself. And never allow yourself to be alone with a woman at the workplace. Always have witnesses, and that's why I'd ask the nurses to be there. So you see, I had all my bases covered. I was bulletproof. So that's my observations. That's what you should do. That's my advice to you. The negative is that Carnival Cruise Line did not have the backbone or the integrity to vindicate myself and dismiss the doctor. That doctor should have been dismissed. That's inappropriate behavior. That's unacceptable behavior. Alleging false allegations to get somebody fired? You can go to court for that, but no, she's a woman. Not even a slap on the wrist. Not even a slap on the wrist. Nothing. If anything, all she got were words of encouragement for the trauma she went through. Absolutely appalling from Carnival Cruise Line. That's the negative. Even with witnesses, written statements, and all that stuff. I even had told the medical director at the time that I've got audio recording of the event. And the medical director said, no, I don't want to hear it, let's all work together. Yeah. Now the positives. I ended up going onto a better ship with a wonderful itinerary, wonderful stuff, wonderful captain, wonderful atmosphere, ambiance on the ship. If you've worked on a cruise ship before, you will know that ships are not the same. A ship can be brand new, very modern and stuff, but the atmosphere is dull and not exciting, even draining. And you can go into an older ship. You can go onto an older ship, but the atmosphere is joyous and jovial and happy. You know, that was the situation on the Legend. It was great, man. My medical team on the Legend, these guys, they were the best. They know they are if they're watching. I ended up going into a better ship with better itineraries, more excitement. It was great. So that's my story. That's what happened to me. So that's my story. I hope it will help you. I hope you remember my story if you find yourself in a difficult situation. And I wish you all the best. Cheers.